I finished The Witcher today. It's really crazy how much content has dropped in December and will continue to drop in December. I mean, we got what? Spider-Man No Way Home. The Expanse is drip feeding us episodes right now. We got the Book of Boba at the end of the month. And we have, oh my goodness, what's the other one? Cobra Kai. We have Cobra Kai as well, I think next week. It's just so much content, and I feel like The Witcher dropped at like the worst time. It's gonna get drowned out by all this other content, and it's kind of sad to see because that first season was fantastic. If I could have the story a little more cohesive and straightforward as this season 2 is, I would have liked it. I mean, I liked how they by the way, I will be mentioning spoilers in this, so if you haven't seen the first season, go watch it, take your sweet time, enjoy it, and then come back if you feel like it. If not, oh well. But back to what I was saying, I liked how they kind of like made a little joke about how everybody kind of had a hard time following the storyline because the timelines were jumping in season 1. I believe Yasker made that joke in the season 2 about how his song didn't make sense because some character couldn't follow the timeline correctly.
Oh yeah,
it's a bit complicated. It took me to the 4th verse to understand there were different timelines.
And I felt like that was a good one. So I'd say that I like season 2 more than I like season 1 because of the cohesive and straightforward storyline. But it still had me asking questions. Something that I was afraid of coming out of season 1 was I was worried that going into season 2, now that he had Fine Suri, was that we weren't going to get any more monster fights or monster hunting really. And man, that first episode, I want to say the first episode, and I think episode 6 with the really well choreographed fight with the fire dude, were my favorite episodes. Those were so good. That first episode brought like a real horror-esque feel to it, especially the way that like that bat lady was crawling out of the wall and stuff. But the choreographed fights, there weren't that many. Like, I felt, because in season 1 they had, I think, 3 really well choreographed fights that stood out to me, and in this one it was only 1. I mean, the final battle at the end when Ciri's fighting that witch in her brain or whatever, that was awesome, but it involved monsters, and every fight that involved monsters in this was awesome and just fantastic. But when he's fighting, when Geralt is just fighting people, like in season 1, the fights are really, really good, and it's the way they do all the camera work is awesome. And I felt like we only got one of those this season with the fire guy. I think one of the main reasons why I like this show is the world building. Every episode's adding something new to the world that I know nothing about. I never read the books. I never played the games. I know that's kind of crazy because everyone played the games, but I never had those two pieces of media to get me to watch the show in the first place. So when I'm watching the show and they're building this world one episode at a time, I become more intrigued and more involved to what's going on. It's something that a lot of shows just can't do anymore, and I'm really glad that The Witcher's doing it. It's one of the main reasons that keeps me coming back. Now, if this show, I will say, if this show was an episode by episode basis, like how, for example, The Expanse is doing on Amazon Prime, I think it would be a difficult watch. Thank God it's on Netflix to just binge it all and as fast and as quick as I want to. There's a lot of things about some shows that I watch and then when I watch like a good written show that you often think that the characters are going to do dumb things or say stupid things, and when The Witcher just doesn't do that, and then there's actual communication between the characters that's important, and that they're saying things that they're that they should be saying instead of like, oh, I'm just going to keep this information to myself because I think that's the best thing for this character, blah 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 blah. But The Witcher is very open when it comes to character dialogue about characters communicating with one another, and that's a rarity nowadays. I mean, it seems like the more and more content that we get, there's this weird thing with dialogue to push the story by keeping information from characters when I don't think it's necessary, and I think that's really strange. I feel like the girl that plays Suri, I'm not sure her name, but I'll put it up on the screen. At times I think that her acting is really, really good, and then there's a couple times where I feel like she's really having a hard time, but I understand that she may be growing as an actress, and I think that's really cool. So I hope that she does improve. It's, they left us off with a nice big fat juicy cliffhanger, so we're gonna get a season 3, I presume. So I hope it gives her more time to practice and to get better. But man, I really like how the gang all came together there at the end, and that we're probably going to stick together this time. I mean, and remember in season 1, everyone was bouncing around, and this person was in this timeline, and this person was in that timeline, and now hopefully in season 3 there's no separation of characters. We get these characters together for at least half a season, I hope. That's a bummer, man, about Netflix. Like, you binge it super hard, and then it's like, oh, I gotta wait who knows how long for another season, but I guess it's the bittersweet, I guess, of the deal we got. But I am very much looking forward to another episode. I could go on and on about things I liked about this show and things that I didn't like. Oh my goodness, the music. So, Geralt's theme at the beginning that plays every time they show the title, and then basically the symbol of what the episode's going to be about. The music, that specific song reminds me of Black Sail's theme. I feel like it's the same instrument, just different tone. I wish I could play it on here, but I'll get copyright, so maybe I'll just put a link to it, and then I'll put a link to both The Witcher's theme and the Black Sails theme, because it seems similar, and I feel like, yeah, this is the theme and I'm digging it, but then it changes pitch for The Witcher, and I'm like, oh man, I feel like it's missing a mark. And I think that's because I'm corrupted by how good the Black Sails theme is and how similar they seem to me. But I don't know, it could just be me. But yet again, at the end of the season, I've got Toss a Coin to Your Witcher stuck in my head from Jaskier, and I'll be singing that probably for a week. All in all, I'd say this season was a great follow-up to season 1. In my opinion, it surpassed it in a few ways. It had its flaws here and there with some minor inconveniences as far as my end, where I was having a hard time remembering whose character is who, and then following the overall lore. But again, something that The Witcher does great is that they world build every episode with something new, and it keeps me interested, and it keeps the story going in a way that doesn't get boring. I think I'll end this review there, because I don't want to make these too long. I don't know, maybe if you guys, if anybody are watching these reviews and you guys want episode by episode breakdown, I'd do it. It sounds like fun. That first episode of season 2, man, was just so good. I loved that monster fight, and the buildup was awesome. I'll just start rambling again about it. But yeah, Witcher season 2, awesome. If you haven't seen season 1 or the show at all, I highly recommend it. It's so much fun, and it's Henry Cavill at his best. This and Superman, I feel like he's just perfect casting. So yeah, I'll end it there. All right, talk to you guys later.